Hello, widows, my beautiful ladies here in Widow Rising. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am always thrilled to be on here every week to bring value to you for about 20-30 minutes. For those of you that are new into our space, welcome. Welcome to Widow Rising. You're in a place that is safe. Widows here that are ready to just hold space for you, to make you feel safe and unjudged, and to cheer you on and support you where you need it. I apologize for not coming on last week. I had a lot going on, 3 days of personal development for myself, because I always feel that it's important to do that so that I am bringing the best of me to all of you. So today's Widow to Widow is all about the two extremes, right? Whether we feel like we can't do anything or we can't stop doing anything, right? And whether you've been frozen or running nonstop, both of those extremes, I just want you to know that they're not failures. It's grief, right? It's grief. And so I want to just pause there for a moment and maybe drop in the comments where you're at on that spectrum. Are you one of those that just feel like I can't move forward, I can't get out of bed, I can't get out of my house, I can't get out of my room? I know that was my story. I couldn't get out of my room. Even just to mingle with my family inside my own home was really difficult. And so my room was my safe space. So drop in the chat if you are like that. You're that widow that just can't leave. You can't do anything. It's painful. It's scary. It's confusing. It's overwhelming. It brings anxiety to you. Or are you that widow on the other side of the spectrum where I just have to keep moving. I can't stop. I just can't stop. Like, it just helps you to not think about your pain too much, and so you're working in overdrive, right? Type in the chat if you are the shutdown widow or the overdrive widow. I'd love to know. Hey Judy, hey Amy, thanks you guys for coming on. I appreciate you. So let's just talk about that for a moment, right? The shutdown widow is somebody that has a difficult time making decisions. You feel everything is foggy, numb. You guys, even brushing your teeth is difficult. And that was my story again. Like, I couldn't even remember to brush my teeth. I couldn't even remember to shower. Just to open up the door of my room to see what everyone was doing out in the living room or whatever. It was hard. It was hard. Right? And then you have the overdrive widow, right? You're busy from sun up to sundown. You're cleaning, you're planning, you're organizing, you say yes to everyone because the stillness feels terrifying, right? The stillness, the silence, it's too much for you. So you have to keep yourself busy, right? Two completely different responses, but here's the truth. Both are just protecting you. Both are just protecting you, and both are signs of survival mode. Right? Both are signs of survival mode, right? So why does this happen? After we lost our husbands, our nervous system seriously gets hijacked. What does that mean? It means that we either will go into freeze mode, or for others, it's that fawn or flight mode. And I know I talked about this in another Widow to Widow live, right? So it's that fight, flight, or freeze or fawn response, right? That's the nervous system's response to loss, to grief, right? And so that freeze is the widow that just can't do anything. And then the fawn or the fight is that widow that can't stop doing anything, right? So it's shutdown or overdrive, right? So freeze is that disconnection, that overwhelm, and then the overdrive is the fawn or flight, done to avoid feeling, right? We do that to avoid feeling. Neither one is right or wrong. They're just different survival strategies, right? So give yourself grace through that. Becoming aware of which, side of the spectrum you're on is the first step, right? So you ask yourself, am I always exhausted, but doing the most, right? Or am I constantly still, but can't seem to start anything, right? Grief has no timeline. We are going to walk through this journey as fast or as slow as we need to. And it doesn't end in a year. It doesn't end in 2 years. It doesn't end in 3 years, right? For everybody, it's different. And truthfully, because grief is normal and natural, we're always going to have moments of grief. We are not going to grieve consistently throughout our lives, right? We will get to a place where we can experience joy and peace again. But the pace that you go is completely up to you, right? But we will always have moments of grief because grief is normal and natural. We're always going to miss our husbands. They're always going to be right here in our heart. We're always going to love them, right? And wish they were here. That's grief. Normal and natural reaction to response to grief, to loss of any kind, right? So grief has no timeline. So I just wanted to really kind of let that message sink in, and also that we will be grieving for the rest of our lives. Let that message sink in too. And again, it's not about grieving consistently. It's about having moments of grief. Anniversaries, birthdays, weddings, significant moments in your life, or just, I don't know, you could be thinking about him one day, or you hear a song, or you go to a certain restaurant that he frequented, or one of your kids or you start cooking his favorite food, and then you start missing him and your heart gets sad and you begin to cry. That's normal, that's natural. That doesn't mean that you're stuck. It means that you're grieving. Those are moments of grief. But in the beginning and where you're at, if you don't experience healing yet, right? And that, I think, is the difference, is the grief and the healing. They're not one and the same, but they definitely can coexist, right? And I talk about that in my program. So just kind of wanted to maybe allow you guys to be able to see that, right? Because some people think that I'm going to grieve for the rest of my life. Yeah, we are. Hands down, for sure. I am in my journey now for going on 10 years, and it'll be July 17 will be 10 years. And already in January, knowing that it's going to be 10 years, my heart's been feeling very heavy. You know, knowing that time is coming up, I've been thinking about Frank a lot more often over the last few months. And to be honest, he's actually been showing up a lot. He leaves me these dimes. I'll show it to you. Like, so right now I have like 5 dimes, and I keep these close. So I have like a whole container full of dimes over the years that I've collected. Oh, here you go. Over the years that I've collected. But these are Bangkok dimes, or 10 baht is what these are. But Frank has dropped these just over the last, I don't know, over the last month maybe. And it's amazing to have them. So I keep them on my computer so that it just reminds me, right, that he's always here with me. But even more recently, that he's here. He's proud of the work that I'm doing. Hey Cheryl, nice to see you. And so I know I digressed. Sorry, I digressed. But I just wanted you to know that we're always going to have these moments of grief, right? So here are some ways, like if you're that widow that is stuck, or the widow that is working in overdrive. Let's talk about first the shutdown widow, right? What are some things that you can do to support yourself as you use this to be your coping mechanism, right? Because to be honest with you, it's okay to do all these things, you guys, but because I know what I know, healing is possible for you too, right? So I'd love for you to just be open to that possibility, and maybe take those small, tiny steps towards that, right? So how can you do that? Show yourself some self-love, some self-care in these moments, right? For the shutdown widow, right? Maybe anchor to one task a day. Today or this week, I'm gonna remember to brush my hair. I'm gonna remember to brush my teeth. I'm going to remember to drink water. just one task, right? Don't overwhelm yourself with everything else. What is maybe one task you're like, oh gosh, I haven't done that. Can't believe I don't remember. It's okay. Give yourself grace and just let yourself know that I'm just going to focus on one task, one thing, one task, right? Or you can choose like, movement. Go outside, right? It's spring, it's summer weather. Hopefully for some of you, I've been talking to some friends that weather has been bipolar in some of the states that they live in, or even up in Canada, where some days you have warmth and then the next day it's like just like really cold, or hours in the day, like in the morning it's really cold and then towards the afternoon it gets warm. So either way, right, the warm weather is coming, and so find moments to go for a walk, sit outside, right? Even if your stillness is just to sit outside, right? I think I remember my mom encouraging me to do that. Like if I don't want to leave my house, it's okay, but get out of my room and sit out in the backyard. Allow the sun, right, to just pour its rays on me, to breathe in the fresh air, to look at my view. I had an amazing view, all right, because we lived on the cliff line, and just maybe find gratitude in the view that we had in the backyard. Walk barefoot, right? Maybe just stand outside and walk barefoot. Allow your feet to sink into the grass or the dirt. And so those are ways that you can get yourself out of that shutdown mode. There's also some like visual reminders that you can have to help you do that, right? On our phones, we have alarms. Set an alarm at a certain time that you want to be able to remind yourself to brush your hair or brush your teeth or to drink water, and even in when I'm on my wellness, track in my life, and I have to remind myself, Darlene, you have to drink X amount glasses of water. I'll literally set the alarm on my phone, so my alarm's constantly going off, because I have to remind myself every hour to drink water. And that's a real thing, because I get so busy doing all these things that I forget to drink, right? So even the overdrive widow could forget that, right? So hope that helps for those of you that you consider yourselves the shutdown widow. Now let's talk about the overdrive widow, right? I just have to keep an eye on the time, because I do have a client right after this. Okay, so the overdrive widow, right? You schedule stillness, right? Complete opposite. So you want to be able to just schedule that stillness into your life. 5 minutes, doesn't have to be a long time. Start with 5 minutes of welcoming the stillness, the calm, the silence, right? And if 5 minutes is too much, because I know 5 minutes can feel like a long time, do it for 30 seconds. Do it for a minute, and then gradually work your way up, right? But you want to start with small steps, right? The other thing is, ask yourself, what am I avoiding by staying busy? What am I avoiding by staying busy, right? You can allow that task, that stillness, to maybe journal, right? And write down, what is one moment of stillness that is actually self-soothing. Sorry, it's a tongue twister. Self-soothing. What is one thing that I like to do that is self-soothing? Read a book. Take a bath. Like I said, sit outside for a moment. Right? What is it that brings you self-soothing? Right? Sometimes we just need to ask ourselves these questions so that we can become aware, because it's not always in the forefront. It's not always in the conscious mind. Right? So I'd love to know if any of these tools, these tips that I've given, you've used in your life, right? Or maybe something different, right? We have a community of widows here. Some of you have been in here for years, for months, but then there's those that are coming in, like we're inviting widows into the group every single day. And so let's help out the newer widows and share what has helped you. If you're that widow that kept busy all the time, like maybe note down here, like, what were you avoiding? Remember, this is a safe space, because there could be newer widows in here that maybe are afraid to admit that until they see that they're not alone. right? And so those of you that have been here on your widow journey for a while and have done things to help yourself, it would be so amazing if you can type that in the chat and let our newer widows know what you've done that has helped you to sit in the silence, right? Or to get those that are stuck, how do we get them moving, right? So you want to have that balance in your life and not be too busy and not be too stuck, right? Because again, it's a journey, right? Give yourself grace through all of it, ladies, and know that again, it's just survival mode. But at some point, I hope that you feel inspired to not just want to survive, but to thrive in your life, because you deserve that. You know, I always tell the widows that come through my program that we are not meant to do this alone, number one, but we are also not meant to be on this earth to just survive, right? We are meant to thrive, and there's a reason that we are here still. Why our husbands had to die when they did, something that we'll never understand. But we are here for a reason. And what is yours, right? My reason is to be here for all of you, right? When I discovered my purpose, it gave me a reason to wake up every single morning because I had a purpose, right? And if you're in the beginning of your journey, don't even worry about that right now. I just wanted you to know what's possible for you, right? And so if this resonated with you and you're done tired of being stuck, or you're done tired of working in overdrive, and you want to experience something different, you want to experience healing, ladies, I'm here for you. And I'd love to have a conversation. I'd love to, even more than a conversation, to take you through my 5-day program, right? It's free, right? No obligation to come and work with me at the end of that. But it gives you an opportunity to be seen, heard, and acknowledged, and to walk away with so much more awareness of where you're at in your life and how you can move forward from that awareness of where you're at, right? So if you are one of those ladies that are even just a little bit curious about that and would like to learn more, I'd love to have a conversation. DM me or type a heart in the chat if you'd like to learn more, if you're tired of being stuck in this place that you're at and you want to experience what it's like to get out of that rut, to get out of being that shutdown widow or that overdrive widow, and you want to know what it feels like to be more than just that. Type a heart or DM me, and I'll get back to you and we can talk about what that looks like. But I hope this was helpful. And you know, it's Mother's Day tomorrow for me, and for those of you in the US or Canada, it's your Friday. So Sunday, right? Sunday is Mother's Day. And for those of you that are moms, I hope you have a very loving and peaceful Mother's Day. One of the things that I really loved about Mother's Day when Frank was alive is he always treated me like a queen, and always wanted my kids to know that he was so grateful that I was the mother of his kids and that he valued me in that role as a mom. And I love that. And when he died, it was one of the things that I held on to. And I remember after I started to go down my healing journey, I started to treat myself like a queen, because if Frank wasn't going to be here to do that, then I was going to do it for me, right? To honor him in what he thought of me, right? So if you have moms that are still alive, hug them, show them love, spend time with them, because you and I, we know how short life can be. And treat yourself with love, with respect, with kindness. If there's nothing else that you can do on Mother's Day, do that for you, because you deserve it. You deserve all the love and compassion and grace as you walk through this journey. So I want to wish you all a very happy Mother's Day, with peace, love, compassion, and grace. And again, hug your moms if they're still alive. Be thankful and grateful for them. I know I am for my mom. Gosh, I would not be here and who I am today without her. My mom even became a grief coach together with me. We got certified together not because she wanted to be a grief coach, but because she wanted to walk with me. She wanted to see and get kind of an inside view of what my life looked like. And I'm so honored for her for being in that space with me. And so I love her, and I'm going to honor her tomorrow, even though I'm not going to be able to be with her physically, but I will be in July, so I'll make it up to her then. But anyways, I digressed again. I always love talking about my mom. So anyways, ladies, have a great and blessed weekend wherever you're at. I will see you again next week. And in fact, I got some different widow to widow lives coming up for you that I think you'll find very, very valuable. And I'll share that inside the group in the coming days. But for now, stay safe and give yourself grace and compassion as you go through this journey. Love you all so much. And type in the chat what you found most valuable about this. If you're watching the replay, type #replay so that I can show you some love later. And for those of you that came on, Maya, Diane, thank you for coming on. Those of you that were here with me live, thank you. Love you so much. And I will see you guys again next week.